At 81 years of age, Johnny Mack is still a working musician. When most people his age are well and truly retired, Johnny just keeps on going. He's been booked to play at the Murray Bridge Country Music Club, a small country town in South Australia, and I was keen to see how a man of 81 could hold his own on a professional stage. Immediately upon arrival, it was obvious he was eagerly anticipated. It was clear these people remembered Johnny, and while they might be a little older, they're just as enthusiastic.
Johnny Mack, Scott Warner. I've seen you before. You look younger than you sound on the phone. Well, that's good. That's always good news.
Welcome. I'm Jennifer, the president of Jazz. And happy birthday for yesterday.
Yeah, 81.
Wow.
Greetings over, and it's time to check his equipment and have a quick chat to the band members who will be backing him today.
I'm very impressed. We've got a good country band. Lovely venue in Murray Bridge, Imperial Football Club, Johnson Park.
Do you reckon it's a good way to spend your birthday?
Oh, I love it. Well, yeah, I'm really excited. I just hope they like me. Hope they remember me. Music. 1932, August 17th, Kenilworth Road, Parkside. I was just over 2 pound at birth, put me in a cotton padded shoebox as dead, and my midwife saw a heartbeat and they discovered I had rickets. They bathed me in rum for eight weeks. I was bathed in rum to get moisture in my body. Discrimination forced us to go to Parkside Primary, where I captained the footy and the cricket team. Well, from 14 to 18, I went right through the junior and senior colts, then graduated to B grade, then eventually league. But unfortunately, discrimination was stirred because we were from Parkside, we had a lunatic asylum there. We had to really fight, and we were fighting and running because they called us Catholic dogs and Parkside lunatic. So I fought and run, and played against my first league game in 53, and 1953, because I was 9 times on the fence with the B grade, Sturt B grade, I could not get a game, so I supplemented my game by playing for Cowandilla. What led me to stop playing football, I was playing league in 54, and I was in demand as a debutante dancer, partnering girls in their debuts, because I was a ballroom dancer. During the mid-season of 1954, I partnered a girl called Pam Scott in her debut, and I was out till 1 in the morning because we were at the Adelaide Town Hall, and Len Fitzgerald, the coach of Sturt, found out, and the next day I played against Norwood at Norwood Oval, and I played well. And for disciplinary reasons, I got dropped the next week for staying out till 1 in the morning. I didn't even get a kiss goodnight. She just shut the door and said, "Thank you, Johnny." Pam Scott, I never forgave her for that. I was in Montreal train station. So I had to borrow $5 from somebody in the line to get the train to Sault Ste. Marie. I was broke. But that got me to Sault Ste. Marie, and it was in the winter time. and I got a job within 2 days at a national grocery store and didn't have long johns, and I froze my cojones. Barbara was a partner in a dance sequence, and her partner didn't turn up, and so somehow I was selected to partner this beautiful long-legged Canadian girl, and her name was Barbara. So it was love at first sight, and then we got together after that, partnering her in the show, and we were married within 12 weeks. It was all physical. Well, the biggest break was going on a local country and western show in JIC, a radio station in Canada, and my biggest break was a guy phoning in, a fellow French-Canadian called Sonny Baril, and said, "I like what you did." I sang a Tex Morton song called Peg Leg Jack, and he liked what I sounded like, and Sonny Baril phoned the station and asked me to get together and have a jam with him, and that eventuated in the Down Unders being formed. I went out and had a jam, and we formed a group, and because Eddie Rowe came out with me uninvited, he came out with me. He actually told me not to go on the Hillbilly program, which I first went on. This is a fellow bass player I went with. So I went on despite him saying that, and from that formed the Down Unders with John Williams. We proved popular with dancers, and then we got a radio contract for 3 years, and I've still got my tapes, the Down Unders radio show. We opened shows for Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, over a period of 3 years. I think Buddy Holly, Bill Haley, Jim Reeves, Marty Robbins, Hank Snow, Farron Young. Jerry Lee Lewis commented to me when we opened for him on the big Memorial Gardens Hall, where the big shows were in Barbara's hometown. We opened for him, and half-time he came in, I was sitting down, and bear in mind I'm a year older than him, I didn't look my age then. Always had to produce my passport when I went to hotels. And so he came in at half-time and said, "I like your song, son," in his southern accent, and I sang a Jim Reeves number. And he bought me a coffee after, Jerry Lee Lewis. I did the pilot show, and it was very, very successful. Handshakes, telegrams.
Oh, I don't believe it, but
I need to believe it myself, John.
thanks, Chad. That was just great. Incidentally, Trevor and Dennis had a wing-ding of a time the other weekend at Berry on the River Murray in South Australia with Chad. Do you remember much about it, boys? Only drinking Coca-Cola. Let's hear Trevor and Dennis play Invitation to the Blues. Trevor and Dennis.
And the next week after the successful pilot, I was called into John Fowler's office with the crook of a finger. He said, "I want to talk to you." He said, "We've decided to give your show as compared to Roger Cardwell. He was compared on Channel 9. And that absolutely gutted me. John Fowler from Channel 7 phoned me. I was doing a gig at Whyalla, and I got a phone call saying that, I think it was about Christmas time, and said, we're not producing the show next year. I thought I'd let you know first before any of the other staff." When I made the papers, gets a sack by phone call, and years later through he's now deceased Graham Blair, a beautiful man, director, producer, he told me that the reason my country national show was axed, that he had a massive argument with John Fowler, left Channel 7, and in spite, John Fowler axed my show. That's the truth. And that really gutted me. Pink Champagne came out in 1964. Because I was selling so many records with my custom records, WMG said, "We'll put this boy under a 5-year contract." And the first song I recorded was Pink Champagne with the original Seekers. They were the backing group of my earlier records. 1969 was the first tour of Vietnam with Ann and Susan Wills and Lorraine Desmond. I was compere singer, and that was the best time of my life. 3 shows a day all over South Vietnam, front line, ships in the Mekong Delta, American and Australian shows, and it was just very rewarding. Troops were crying, very rewarding. 3 shows a day for 2 weeks. In the port of Saigon, the Vietnamese would unload the American ships in the daytime and they were Viet Cong at night. And they put their black pajamas on and you didn't know who was who. When we caught planes from the airports, all the airfields, because it was such a mess, so much rain, they all had metal mesh on the runway so they could get traction because of the mud. And we had rockets on the wings of planes to get us up quickly from the gunfire of the Viet Cong.
Yep.
Because it wasn't a front, it was guerrilla war. They came out of their holes around an air base, would fire the rockets and go down their holes. The Vietnamese had never been defeated and they have the greatest underground warfare in the history of war. So I got back from a second tour of Vietnam feeling very patriotic, and the federal member for Boothby, John McClay, said, "Johnny Mac, you should run for the seat of Ungley against Gil Langley, a test cricketer." And he convinced me to run without having to fight a pre-selection, which I did. And that was probably one of the worst judgments of my life because my kids got bullied and threatened at school. I got my life threatened, kidnaps. I got all my work cancelled all around South Australia, all the major towns, because I was a Liberal candidate, and that was very hurtful. Well, it feels as if I'm 40, my memory's still good. I think the people still like what I do. You're as good as your last show. And I feel that I'm still contributing and I'm enjoying what I do because my memory's still good and I think it keeps me alert and it's a challenge. I feel a great affinity with the audience, yeah.
Well, welcome members, visitors and friends of country music.
Back at the Country Music Club, and I could see the largely older audience were starting to loosen up to the stylings of the Charlie McCracken Band. No matter how old people are, give them a good beat and they'll dance to it.
Mess around with guns, but I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
It's almost showtime for Johnny, and he likes to look his best, and of course, proudly display his OAM pin.
When that shirt has puffs, I'll have one. It's a beauty.
Every performer has his moments before a show where he can gather his thoughts, and it's no different for Johnny.
But I've got my wife here, Barbara, like my wife for 57 years. She's over there. And she's Canadian. And her great-great-grandfather was an Indian chief of the Chippewa, Shania Twain's stepfather's tribe. And I met and married Barbara, you're not going to believe this, I met and married Barbara in 12 weeks. And we had 3 daughters in Canada, 3 sons here. She wouldn't leave me alone. Everybody going out and having fun, but I'm just a fool for staying.
Right from the start, Johnny had the dance floor full and the audience in the palm of his hand, and they were eating it up with a spoon. But I had a feeling he wasn't the oldest man in the room.
Hello, how old I am?
How old?
87.
87?
83.
Really? Are you still dancing?
Yes.
How lovely. In the break, I could see just how hard the man works. It can't be easy.
My granddaughter's beautiful.
Get it from you.
Yeah.
Costume change, Johnny.
Yeah, I thought I'd just brighten myself up.
Looking very dapper, I might say.
Well, you try to look your best. It gives you a fresh outlook.
How are you enjoying your birthday performance?
Oh, I think it's fantastic here. Everybody's so friendly, and I'm probably the oldest one here, but they're enjoying it. They're dancing, and it's just a nice atmosphere. It's good old-fashioned country music. And I hope you enjoy. Look, I really enjoyed this band. I think it's the hardest working country band I've ever worked with. You know, they just don't stop, and they just do this beautiful music. And as I say, I've admired this man since I was a kid. Busted flat, Baton Rouge, heading for the train. Feeling nearly faded at my jeans. Finally found me a diesel guy. 13 children.
It's too late for the men.
Oh, well, congratulations, and you're great for our country. And I couldn't bear to see you not have you have 14. You want a white sports coat?
Yes, please.
And what's your name, sweetie? Nita Gregor. I'll sing a white sport coat. The lady with 13 children, her husband's gone, and look, I really admired you. Thank you for saying hello. Do you like this beautiful band?
Yes.
Aren't they fantastic? Yes. And it's been a pleasure working. I'm going to sing a white sports coat. This was done by Marty Robbins.
That's right.
Would you like to hear it? Okay. Is that okay with you, Charlie? You right there? A white sports coat and a big donation and a big donation. I'm in the mood for romance. I've got a white sports coat and a big donation. I won't sing Matilda, won't sing Matilda. You come, I won't sing Matilda with me. And these ghosts may be heard, pass by the building. You come, I won't sing Matilda with me. Thank you very much. Pink champagne, a room of roses, violin blue, candlelight.
After over 50 years of entertaining, Johnny Mack can still hold his own at 81 years old, and is likely to be doing so for many years to come.
Thank you, my British country club. Johnny Mack, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Mack, thank you.
In 2012, Johnny Mack was awarded the Australian Order of Merit for his services to the entertainment industry of Australia. While Johnny was very proud, there was another award that was much more important.
My wife and family. That's priority number one. The rest is just incidental. That's what we live for, is family, bonding.
We love you. Happy Father's Day.
What have I done to deserve this?
Speech.
I treasure these moments because when you're 71, every year, 81 is it? Every year's a bonus. So I treasure these moments, and thank you very much. I love every one of you, maybe except one, but oh, this is beautiful. To my beautiful dad, you're a wonderful father. You have kind and generous heart and spirit. I'm very proud of you, Dad, and love the fact that you live for your family and always there for us. Thank you.
Well, gee,
Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble.
That's what we live for, is family, bonding.